Looking good. Let's give Aria some love. Thank you, Aria. She's doing our music tonight. So when you sing this song, sing it to those around you, those who are still coming in. Let's welcome. Come on in. We welcome. We welcome. We welcome you. Come on in. We welcome. We welcome. We welcome you. Let go. Be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We welcome you. Let go. Be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in. 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 We welcome you. Come on in. 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 We welcome you. Let go. Be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in. 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 We welcome you. Come on in. 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 We welcome you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. So glad you're here. Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. It's so good to see y'all singing along. I love it. So as we open our hearts and we welcome us in, let us open our hearts and just speak to that truth to be revealed that is already present within us. We just are speaking right to that which already is, calling it forth open. So the words are in your program. I could ask them for the tempo, they know it. Reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me, the peace. Reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me, the joy. Reveal the joy inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me. Reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. time I open up, love is what I see. Peace. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Joy. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. The love reveal the love in me.
Just taking a big deep breath. Just letting go into this beautiful evening, this beautiful reveal service. Just knowing that I am the peace, the love, the grace of God. And as I know this, as I acknowledge this for myself, I know this is true for each one here. The peace, the love of God. And so I know that this service is truly blessed by the message from Reverend Sunshine, the music by Sunny and Aria, and everybody who volunteers and everybody who is in attendance. Just drink that in. Take another big breath. And as you exhale, let go and let God. And so it is. Thank you, Aria. Thank you, Sunny. So beautiful. We're so blessed, are we not? So, tonight I chose a reading from Joel Goldsmith's book, and it's from his book entitled The Gift of Love. So I just invite you just to sit back and just drink in his wonderful words. As we realize more and more that our function in our household is to be the instrument through which God is to find entrance, we purge our consciousness of its human qualities. We learn to forgive injustices quickly and to forget offenses, realizing that God neither judges nor condemns, and that neither must we. God's forgiveness is 70 times unto 7, and so must ours be. Not only we must express love, patience, kindness, justice, cooperation, and generosity in our home, but we must love our neighbors as ourselves. Then does our consciousness become a transparency through which God's love enters and blesses the multitudes. And just a little prayer that he has here about love and consciousness. My consciousness, which has in it nothing but love, which has no desire for gain and no desire for glory, is now a transparency through which God is flowing into this world. Because God cannot be limited in time or space or by walls, the realized presence of God in this room is flowing out of this room, up and down the street, up and down the nation, and across the waters. I am the transparency through which God's love blesses mankind, friend and foe. My consciousness does not condemn the sinner. My consciousness does not seek vengeance, but forgiveness. Through my consciousness of love, God enters my home, my heart, my business, and this whole universe. The theme for this month is Imagine. And the message for tonight, Reverend Sunshine's message, is Let There Be Love. So I just want to welcome up Reverend Sunshine now. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's a full house tonight. Look around and see who you're hanging out with. Because you imagine this, it is so. So I want to welcome you to this evening's revealing experience and let you know how joy-filled I am that we're all here together, and that those of you who are live streaming tonight, Soraya and Las Tres Amigas and the rest of you who are out there live streaming, welcome. Thank you so much, Linda, for that beautiful reading and that beautiful prayer. It just kind of really helped to set us in the tone of our theme for the month, which she said was imagine. And I love that today, especially out of all days, that the theme is let there be love. Because throughout the day, depending on whether you were listening to the radio or listening to friends or watching television or just in any public arena, people were talking about the date, of course, and the significance of today. And on a day like today, which has been named Patriots' Day or now even Day of Service, let there be love is indeed where we could be coming from. You know, so many times if we allow the media and we allow the news and things to upset us, if we allow it to upset us, we can be threatened with wars and reports of wars and rumors of wars and things, you know, things of terror and strife and all kinds of stuff. When in fact, what that is a call to do and to be is love. When we continuously hear that there is wars or reports of wars, or this is happening in this side of town, or that's happening in that side of town, or this marks the anniversary of such and such and such because we have been terrorized, or we play the victim role, it is an opportunity to remember, let there be love. Whether it is that we've been hurt by a beloved one, or whether things didn't turn out the way we wanted them to, or whether at work we're just kind of fussing and fighting, or whether it's a neighbor, or whether it's a friend or a relative that's displaced, or there's something happening, it is a call for us to let there be love. And it happens when we allow ourselves the time and the energy to imagine love in the first place, to be the love and to actually come from a place of love means that we have done the work ahead of time to actually show up to a place and be that love. Because the truth of the matter is that we are already love. See, there's one power, one presence, one life. That life is God. There's God and nothing else. God created everything out of itself. God is love. Therefore, that which is created, which is everything, it's all God. We are God. We are the way God shows up in human flesh form. Therefore, the love that God is, we are. The peace that God is, we are. The joy that God is, we are. The abundance that God is, we are. That is the absolute truth of our being. However, when we kind of take on this flesh suit in our eternal existence, as God is eternal, we are eternal, and so as we take on this flesh and begin to have the experience of divine humanity and begin to have this experience of living on planet Earth and living with others, and we begin to allow race consciousness to affect and influence who we are and what we do and what we say and what we believe, we forget our truth. We think we're only human. We think that we're limited. We think X, Y, Z instead of A, B, C. We forget that we are love. Therefore, that's why I say we get to do all the work over here so that when we show up here, we can come from that place of love. It's only because we've been bombarded with all these lies about who we are, and not only have we been bombarded with them, but we believe them. Hello? So, I mean, it would be one thing if we're bombarded with this stuff and didn't believe it. We didn't let it stick on us, right? It would just fall off. But what's happened is that we've been bombarded with all these untruths about us, and we believe it. We believe it. And we forget that right where we are, God is. That God is living in, through, and as us right now. And that in any moment we can just simply allow the love that God is, the love that we are, to come forth and shine through. This month, as we've been going through the Science of Mind magazine and the daily guides and using them as our daily inspiration to move forward and to imagine the possibilities for our lives, today's topic of Let There Be Love, one of the quotes is from one of the country bands that says, "Imagine that, a love that lasts forever. Imagine that for all the world to see. Two people stay together the way it ought to be. Ooh, imagine that. Ooh, imagine that." Sunny knows the song. She sings it much better than I could ever. So when we're talking about that kind of human love, and when we're talking about showing up as love, I'm simply talking about that divine love that is God. When we simply recognize that there are challenges that we might face as a couple, as partners, as friends, as neighbors, as relatives. If we just take the meaning of that song and really expand it, a love that lasts forever. The love that lasts forever is God. That is God. So imagine that. Imagine and begin to see and feel for yourself this love that is God, that is right where we are, that is indeed what we are. It has created us in its image and likeness, and it is living us right now. It is that which not only animates our bodies, but is the body in this human form, this love that lasts forever. So when we get in these jams, when we get in these situations that call sometime for us to step up to the plate and be love, but instead we kind of act and react from a place of fear, doubt, shame, guilt, worry, it's not so pretty. It's not even sexy. It's downright ugly. And we've all had those times, maybe where we've lashed out at somebody or where we've said some things that were totally mean because we were coming from that place of fear, from that place of doubt, from that place of lack and limitation, from that place of maybe guilt. But in those moments, if we were to simply imagine a love that lasts forever, a love that simply steps in each and every situation, it is absolutely easy if we say so. If we say so. It's absolutely easy to come into those situations, maybe of hiccup or a bump in the road, and come from that place of love and know that I am love and simply push away the doubts and the fear, knowing that love is indeed the answer, because love is God, God is the answer, God is love, love is God, God is the answer, love is the answer in that moment, and come from a place of knowing this truth about myself and knowing this truth about the other person. It's some work sometimes because we deal with some characters in our lives, don't we? You know the ones who think they know it all. Or you know the ones, they're such manipulators. You know the ones that are really conniving and sneaky. Or the ones who are outright brash and harsh and hard to get along with. Whichever it is the type that they are, you're not. But whatever the type that they are not, you probably are. So we have a part to play in the situation. And when we come from this place of love, when we remember that love is all there is, when we remember to be love and live from this place of love because we've done the work to unstick ourselves from the minutia of the world, from the stuff that the world has told us that we are, that we're really not, when we begin to really recognize through our prayer and meditation, through our sacred service, that we are indeed love, we begin to really see that this is just a call for God to show up. And it is not a mission that is impossible. When that difficult individual is before you, it is an opportunity for God to show up in, through, and as you. You're the chosen one at that moment. To be the love. To come from that place of power, of peace, of harmony, of love, that which is all that love is. And to really know that there is an absolute solution. And there is a limitless or an infinite amount of possibilities that could possibly happen, that could possibly occur. And so because there's a limited amount of possibilities that can happen, if I stay open and I stay out of the doom, the gloom, the shame, the doubt, the fear, the lack, the limitation, or the who do they think they are, if I stay out of that and open myself to the realm of infinite possibilities and come from that place of love, which I already am, then it can collapse into success. But in our minds, so many times, we collapse doom and gloom and trouble and strife. And no wonder our problems are of our own making. That is exactly where we're focusing our attention. But when we let there be love, when we allow love to be the center of our consciousness and our awareness, then we're truly coming from a different place. And the infinite possibilities that can collapse into the one experience are then focused in that arena of all things possible that happen for our good. You know, I was born and raised in the Bronx, and I worked in the World Trade Center when I was a teenager in high school. And, you know, it's interesting because if I ask most people where they were on that, you know, September 11th, 2001, they can probably tell me if they were born, and old enough to remember. But, you know, it's just kind of like one of those dates that stick out in our minds, like, where were you on September 11th? Or where were you when Michael Jackson died? Or where were you when you were watching the Super Bowl and Janet Jackson had that malfunction with her wardrobe? You know, it's kind of like one of those things that you kind of always remember. And the thing is, you remember where you were, huh? He's never going to forget where he was. You know, it's interesting because a lot of times when we remember a specific date, I know that lots of people are always talking about a specific date or the anniversary of this or the anniversary of that. And I'm one to think that, and one especially to believe that, you know, we are such powerful beings because God is right where we are, that we can totally transmute Maybe that feeling of fear, of insecurity, that fear or that doubt. We can totally transmute that experience that we may have had on that particular day, uncertainty, and now have it mean something totally different. Now today, have this particular day mean this is the day that the world came together to show lots of love. This is the day that we saw how humanity could really come together and be one and be unified and show love and show brotherly love and really show how much we care for one another and really how powerful we are when we come together. Instead of having it necessarily be a day where we are all about sorrow, we can absolutely take a look at all the difference that has come out of that particular day and allow there to be love. You know, the Science of Mind book says that only love knows love, and love knows only love. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. Words cannot express its depth or meaning. And it's interesting because since words cannot express its depth or meaning, it's the same for us in that I can tell you about a fabulous trip, and I can tell you actually about a fabulous trip that a friend of mine had going into the middle of the Grand Canyon. And going down the Grand Canyon, and they had their luggage with them, and they actually got to stay in the depths of the Grand Canyon down near the water. Has anybody here ever done that before? Handful of folks. Excellent. So you can literally describe it. You can literally talk about it. Now, my friend tells me, Sunshine, you have to do this. You've got, this has got to be something that you do because the experience is so magnificent and so wonderful that you have to take this trip. And it's just, it's really close. It's, right there. You can get there in a few hours and make reservations and do the whole thing and actually experience it for yourself. And the way she made it sound was so beautiful. And I liken that to us knowing love or us knowing God. I could stand up here till next week and tell you about love. I could stand here until next month and explain to you and describe to you my relationship with spirit, my relationship with love, with God, with peace, with joy, with harmony, with this thing that has created everything. And I can explain to you the journey that I've taken to get to this inner knowing, this inner dwelling of my experience with God, my experience in knowing God, and how I live and how God is living in, through, and as me, and how God speaks in, through, and as me each and every day. I can talk till I'm blue in the face, until I faint. It can be a whole marathon. But I haven't been to the bottom of the Grand Canyon yet. And by the looks of this place, lots of us haven't. However, each of us in our own way can experience God in our own way. We can take that journey within. We don't have to go to the mountaintop. We don't have to go to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. We don't have to jump out of a plane to know and experience this indwelling presence that is the answer to all of our daily living problems. We don't have to do that. What we get to do is take our own journey, though, within. It ain't that far. But so many of us are looking out there. We're looking out there for love. We're looking out there. We're talking about till death do us part. We're talking about all this other stuff, and the love is right here. It's right here. God is right here, right where I am. It is living me. It is living you. And when we allow there to be love, we're simply saying that we're recognizing the love that is living in, through, and as me is really everywhere present. It is until we can recognize that it is within us that we can really begin to appreciate and see how love, how God, how Spirit shows up everywhere. And that we have to go nowhere to be in it, because we are already in God. Our life is already in this one presence, this one power that is love, that is everything. It is who and what we are. And yet so many times we forget to go within. It's like do not mistaken the finger with that which I'm pointing to. So if I'm really trying to point to the sign over there, and I go look, and you're looking here at the finger, it's not the finger that's important, it's the direction in which I'm pointing to. So don't get it confused. Do not become confused that somebody else's journey or story, or that someone else is a great avatar. I mean, we've had wonderful, wonderful teachers who have come and have told us about their experience about God, but unless you take the walk yourself, you're just reading somebody else's story. You're just living somebody else's experience vicariously through them, but you're not having your own. And it's about having your own. I can walk you on the path, but at some point, you got to walk the rest of the way. We can accompany each other on the road, but at some point, we have to take that road, and we have to take that path of deep inner knowing of this indwelling presence that is living in, through, and as us on our own. We have to take the time and dedicate the energy to knowing God as our life. God is my life. Hear me, God is my life. Another way to say it is, love is my life. God is life itself. And to the degree in which I take it and accept it and know it, then I can show up in every situation in love, in joy, in peace, in harmony, and have that presence to simply be okay and know that everything is unfolding in a perfect and magnificent way, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when there seems to be a hiccup. I was listening to one of my brothers in ministry, Dr. David Bruner. Some of you may know him. And, he was talking about upset. Because when I talk about let there be love, and we talk about relationships, he said that sometimes the way he sees it is that, and if you know David Bruner, you know why he would say this. He says, upset is like having gas. It happens. Whoop. And then it's over. It's done. Oh, okay. It happens. We all have it. Oh, okay. But we don't have to attach ourselves to it and let it take us. Exactly. We don't have to Velcro and handcuff ourselves to the upset and let it take us. We can simply go, oh, okay, well, what do you want for dinner? Or where are we going to go eat? What movie do you want to see? Like, it's just that temporary. When we're coming from that place of love, we know that we don't have to attach ourselves to it and have it take us away. Have us take us off of our center, of our truth, of knowing exactly who and what we are, that right where we are, God is, that right where we are, love is, that right where we are, peace is, and that is the nature of who I am. Therefore, I can live from this place most of the time, if not all of the time, or as much of the time as I can. And it takes what Michael Beckwith calls blisscipline. Blisscipline. And that is the discipline that brings about bliss. Because the discipline is simply doing the work, right? It's kind of like hiding out in the closet, like one of the great books that is used throughout the world is the Bible, and it says, when you pray, go in a closet. Not that you have to be closeted, but go into the privacy of it's pretty much shutting out the outside. Dedicate some time. Just go. Sit. Be. Quiet that inner chatter. Just let it tire itself out. Just simply be, even if you're just with the thoughts, and allow the thoughts to simply pass you by like clouds that are passing along. Again, you don't want to get hooked and let that one thought just kind of take you away. You just allow yourself a few minutes of meditation, of just being in the silence and allowing those thoughts to just pass by, because we have a thinking brain. That's what we do. We think. We think thoughts. Thoughts are going to happen. But we don't have to believe everything that we think. And if we do, we get to examine where those thoughts come from. And those thoughts come from some belief that we have internally that sometimes really are hidden. And that's the work of a practitioner. Is when you meet with one of our practitioners, they help to uncover some hidden beliefs that you have, which is the root of the behavior that you have. So that's why Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life, because the thought gives you at least a quick insight as to what you must be believing. You see. And if you're believing in doom and gloom and doubt and fear and limitedness, your thoughts are going to be, I don't have enough money. I'm not lovable. What's wrong with that person? I don't know why they don't like me. I'm never going to get that job that I want. I'm never going to be here. I'm never going to have that house in the hills that I want. I'm never going to ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. If those are the thoughts when you sit still in your closet that you're having, hello, it's an indication of what you believe. Let there be love. Let the love to simply go, okay, baby, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Whoa. Okay, let's have a heart-to-heart here. Begin talking to yourself like that is not the truth of who you are. And begin to at least examine those thoughts that float through our brains and notice that they're connected to a deep belief. And when we work with a practitioner, the practitioner helps to uncover, like, ta-da, shine the light on those beliefs and go, oh, no wonder you're having this result in your life. Look at what you're believing. And because this is what you're believing, this is what you keep thinking. And because this is what you keep thinking, this is what you keep doing. And because this is what you keep doing, this is what you keep getting. So, that's why it's so important for us to be in a spiritual practice, to speak affirmatively of our life, to use our faith. Faith is the energetic behind that which is for our good that catapults us into right action. When we allow love and faith to catapult us into right action, we're helping to clear away some of those beliefs that are so misleading. We allow the love that is God, that is true love, that cannot even be described. We allow that eternal love to begin to really show us what it's all about. We begin to simply live from a place of love. Place of compassion, a place of peace, a place of joy, a place of abundance by our spiritual practice, because it reveals to us so much that we need to know. And see, when we begin to imagine this world that works for everyone, when we begin to imagine our own life being successful and being filled with love and us being loved and being in community that's such a loving community, we begin to set right some of these thoughts of doom and gloom. We begin to see the world from a place of love. We begin to act and live as these global citizens that care for one another and not backbite each other and talk about each other or give each other these stereotypical names to think that we're better than somebody else because we live here and they don't. But we begin to live from this place of love, recognizing that God is living in, through, and as everyone. Living in, through, and as everyone. No exceptions. No exceptions. Not only was God living as Trayvon Martin, but God was living as Zimmerman. No exceptions. And when we come from that place of love, we begin to really see, can I love both? Or is there some work for me to do? I may have some strong feelings about it. Those are indications of where I get to grow even more. Let there be love. Let love shine in, through, and as us. And the way we get there is through our spiritual practice. So the invitation is for us to go into that quiet time right now. And that as we begin to simply settle into the comfort of those beautiful chairs that you're sitting in, begin to allow your body to simply rest in it nice and comfortably. Feel how your body is so strongly supported by those chairs. And know that life, that God is supporting you even more than those chairs are currently supporting your physical body. And that as you're ensconced in that chair and sitting next to a neighbor or having some space, that simply everything around us is God. Recognizing that right where you are, love is. Right where you are, peace is. Right where I am, begin to say to yourself silently or just in a slow, soft whisper, right where I am, love is. Right where I am, God is. God is all there is. And we simply allow the peace and the quietude that is God to take over our minds, our thoughts right now, and to fill us with the thoughts and the things that get to be cleared away and the things of love that we get to embrace. So remember, right where I am, God is. Right where I am, love is. Right where I am, God is. Right where I am, love is. that God is not outside of us, but God is living in, through, and as us. That love is living in, through, and as us. That peace is living in, through, and as us. And that as we recognize this truth, because we have spent time in the silence, because we have spent time with that indwelling presence, that indwelling I am presence, we begin to recognize that we have found God, that we have found love, that we can let there be love, and that we found it right where we are, that it is within. And as we recognize that it is within us, we recognize then that it is as us, and that it is indeed all around us. And all of a sudden, this world that we thought was full of chaos and strife is actually filled with love, and we begin to see it as God sees it, because we recognize our life as the life that God is. Because through the silence, through our spiritual practice, through our dedicated service and our tithe, and through recognizing God in, through, and as our very life and the life of all, we begin to see that love is all there is. And that there is nothing above that life that is God. And that it is expressing beautifully and magnificently as each and every one of us. That life is fully expressing beautifully as each and every one of us. So we begin to treat each other with that love, with that peace, with that joy, because we're simply seeing God all over the place. So I give thanks for this time. I give thanks for this community that has so joyously said yes to the spiritual path, that has joyously said yes to this inward journey to discover that God, that life, that love is right where we are. Oh, how privileged we are to live in this time, in this space, and to have so much available to us. So much that points us to the direction that right where we are, God is. We need look no further. And so we allow love to shine in, through, and as our life. For that is all that God is love. So for this and so much more, I am eternally grateful. And I simply release this word now into the activity of the law, knowing that it is already done in the mind of God. Therefore, we joyfully expect its manifestation in, through, and as our life, that we recognize our oneness and our wholeness, and that right where we are, God is. It is so, and so it is. Amen. Welcome back. I'd like to invite our ushers forward. This is a time where we stay conscious and where we have an opportunity to simply redistribute our good. And so as you prepare your hearts and your minds to give, simply become grateful or thankful for something or someone in your life or some experience, whether it's this spiritual community, whether it's a family member, a loved one, whatever it is that you're grateful for. Maybe that your body is functioning fully, that your mind is fully charged. But whatever it is that you're thankful for, simply feel that gratitude right now. And know that whatever gift is in your hand to give and to share with this spiritual community, that you're also adding that energetic of thanksgiving to it. thanksgiving for that which you have received and now that which you so freely give onto the spiritual community. And so just simply pour a blessing onto it of your own. As I simply bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings, that which this spiritual community has brought forth to share with a greater community, knowing that as stewards of that which is being given now, we use these and transmute this energetic so that they are classes and programs and all that is necessary to keep these doors open, that those who want to come and recognize their life as their life of God may do so freely, and that we are available for this greater truth and this greater knowing. So we bless the giver, we bless the receiver, and we know that we're so fully participating in the reciprocal nature of life. And because we're so fully participating, we remain grateful that we're able to receive and that we're able to give. For that is truly life in motion. Ushers, go forth and multiply this consciousness. And as you give, you receive. So open your hearts and please receive Sunny Daye, my beloved in whom I am well pleased.
Let's give some more love to Reverend Sunshine. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? You fill my heart with gladness, you take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Oh, the morning sun and all its glory greets the day with hope and comfort too. You fill my heart with laughter, you somehow make it better, ease my troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine, like the sun. And at the end of the day, let's give thanks and pray to the one, oh, to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? You fill my heart with gladness, you take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine, like the sun. And at the end of the day, let's give thanks and pray to the one, oh, to the one. Hey, have I have I told you there's no one above you? You fill my heart with gladness. You take away all my sadness. Ease my troubles, that's what you do. You fill my heart with gladness. You take away my sadness. Ease my troubles, that's what you that's what you do. Ooh, yeah.
Sunny Daye, accompanied by Aria Dawn. Thank you so much, beloveds. Woo! All right, we have time for somebody to reveal some truth from the audience. So the question is there something that was said or shared that resonated with you about Let There Be Love, or a situation that you just want to share with the community where you're gonna step up and just be love in? Is there anybody, situation where you're gonna just step into it and be love? I see you. Hello, lovely.
My name is Nancy, and something's been weighing heavy on my mind that the holidays are coming up, and going up to see my family. My brother-in-law is is not my favorite person. Hasn't worked in over 12 years, and blah, blah, blah. There's whole drama with it. But I wasn't going to go up there. I was just going to spend Christmas at Seaside. But I've decided to step into love towards him. But I'm still working on it. But this is really what I needed to hear tonight. So wish me luck. No, it's.
Well, the good news is we got a few months to work on it. So a few months of prayer, meditation, seeing it, imagining that whole relationship just simply being from that place of love. Yeah. So we're going to know that with Nancy, right? Because we're a community. We're coming together and we're going to know this for Nancy. And we'll check up on you in about another month or so and see how you're doing, seeing it in your mind's eye so that it can happen around the holidays for you. One more? Anyone else? Yes, beloved. Thank you. Hello.
Well, I didn't want to put a damper on things, but everybody's talking about the World Trade Center today and 9/11, and I was called to work at 9/11 and was one of the early responders. So I just want to remind people that there was the Pentagon and the crash in Pennsylvania, and I worked at the Pentagon, and please remember all those families that we worked with and lost their loved ones. People just seem to forget them, and there weren't as many that died, but their loss was just as deep.
Thank you. Absolutely. So this is the day of love. This is the day where when we remember those situations, we have an opportunity to let there be love, and for us to simply know love in, through, and as each and every situation. Know that the family members and the loved ones, that we're sending them love, and that we're knowing that right where they are, love is. And thank you so much for being a first responder, for loving so much to be there and to provide your service and your love and your consciousness to be there in support of so many folks who absolutely needed what you brought to that situation. So here we are at the end of our Wednesday night service. the end of a beautiful, beautiful day in consciousness, a beautiful opportunity to hear some wonderful music and to be inspired through the reading and through the prayers, to be inspired by one another, and to remember that right where we are, God is, and that the life that God has is eternal, and that we get to be love, and that we get to live from love. So a couple things that I would love to remind you of is now that we're in September, not only are our young ones back in school, but we get to we get to also have classes ourselves as adults. And so we have lots of classes starting up. Our education table has some information. You also have some information in your bulletins about some of the classes that are starting up. September the 26th is a Thursday morning. Sunny Daye and I will be hosting a class called Soul Recovery, and there's more information in your bulletin about that. And like last week, we have our cookbooks that are going to be in our, and there they are. I have a recipe in there, and I know that Dr. Swanson has a recipe in there, and that all kinds of folks have, like, we have our favorite recipes in there. And our cookbooks are a wonderful way that we get to support this community, but also we get to take it home and make some fabulous food and desserts and drinks and all kinds of whatnots that just bring our life joy over and over again. It's kind of like that gift that keeps on giving, because every time you open it, it's like, gotta go out to the store, gotta make this. Sounds so good, you know? And then if you want to bring some next Wednesday, whatever you make. We fellowship after service right there in the family room, so I'm not going to stop you if you bring some of them tasty treats and dishes that you make out of our cookbook. So please avail yourself to that as well. We're going to have prayer this evening, so we want to let you know that our practitioners are going to be in the chapel. So Linda, who represented our practitioner corps on the platform here, will be able to pray with you, and also Bob, who's been in the back, we call holding the light, or knowing the perfect unfoldment of our service. He's just been sitting in the silence, imagining and knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly for us, not just here, but also safe travels home, safe travels to Italy, safe travels to wherever it is that folks are going. He's been knowing that for us in the back. So he's been in consciousness, just being this steady beacon of light. And so, if you want to pray with him, he's ready. You know what I mean? Because he's all conscious up too, So they'll be available in the chapel after service to give you the gift of prayer. Want to thank Melanie. Thank you so much for making us all sound so wonderful and so good. Want to thank Annette and Tim. And for those of you at home live streaming, thank you so much for being with us. Annette and Tim, thank you so much for the love you provide every week for us. And Jenny, who's our coordinator, who makes it possible that everything runs smoothly. And of course, last but definitely not least, going to thank our music team, Aria and Sunny Daye. We're going to be giving some hugs and just chatting it up right there in the family room after service. Mellow Day will be available for pets and licks and kisses as well. So if you like that friendly, doggy kind of love, we got that aspect covered for you tonight. All right, let us rise. And we always do our prayer by singing. So the invitation is to sing our prayer. Come on, girl.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our
so much.